Little minor correction. The ambition is actually billion, but who's counting, right? Good morning, everyone. First, round of applause to Taylor and Nomad. Love the core message. I love the core message because even though this is an Ethereum-centric conference, we're all talking about interoperability, and we're a future where everyone would be blockchain agnostic, and that's kind of really the love that we're embracing. And then there has been a lot of serenading harmony with love, so I decided to kind of go full hog or full retard, bring Lee onto the stage with me to basically, serenading a harmony with all the love that we can give because they're truly we are great friends of theirs. We're building our 1Wallet on top of harmony. So there we go. But first thing first, my name is Z. I've been founder of Timeless, and our core objective is really activating the next billion users in Web3. And I'll start with like some of these kind of like, because I'm a fan of Elon, because it's the best form of comedy on the internet. And in so many ways, when he's wrong, but man, it sometimes feels so right. First, obviously, he's always questioning, where's Web3? But he's right. When Web3 is here, when everything's working the way it's supposed to, it should be invisible. I don't, when we had the transition from Web 1 to Web 2, it was seamless. I wasn't making a intentional decision to embrace Web 2 versus Web 1. So Web 3 should be invisible. So he's wrong, but he's right in that sense. A lot of the conversation about the future of Web 3, blockchain, and crypto, it's not a daily conversation. And true story, for the past 24 hours since we landed in Austin, many of my team members in the background, we've been walking the streets, and we've been asking people to try our 1Wallet. We got a lot of yes. In 24 hours, we got about close to 300 people trying out this app. But we also got a lot of skeptical fuck you because they've just flat out told us this feels like a scam, or my parents are telling me don't get involved in crypto. So right now we haven't got to the point where everyone's actually doing this, right? Having a bathroom conversation about Web 3. So he's wrong, but he's also right. We're gonna get there. Last one, this is about the most his recent comedy show, which is about Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, right? I was there in Web 1. I was at Google for about 10 years, starting in 2006. Had a chance to work on Chrome. I launched Chrome, and I also worked on the initial Android launch. So I know kind of what it takes to really build a billion user platform. And Web 2, obviously, the social network generation. That's also kind of what really made the technology sector really shine and permeate through everyone's day-to-day lives. Web 3, I think this is actually the part that I'm most excited about because it's no longer about the boomers and millennials, it's really the Gen Z. And that's probably the part that I really get passionate about because in so many ways, what we're doing in Web 3 is washing away the original sins of Web 1, Web 2, which is Mark Andreessen said it. He forgot to build a payment rail into the original mosaic. Wouldn't that be amazing had payment been built into the original protocol of the internet? So you no longer have this whole 3 decades of economy on the internet driven by advertising. And because it's driven by advertising, it's all about attention. Because it's all about attention, then you need to gather more user data. So in so many ways, Web 3 is our chance to really wash away the original sin. All right, so how are we gonna get there? Well, this is a bit of a personal story. For those of you who can't see me, well, this is actually a live demonstration. Stupidity does happen. How many of you guys were at ETH Denver? Right? So again, serenading harmony was a bit of additional love. We had one of the best party. Dan Mouth was there. I was trying some BTS move. It didn't work out. There were plenty of champagne on the floor. Before I can pull my move, I actually had a hairline fracture. Completely ruined my ETH Denver plan, and because I was actually planning to go to Breckenridge to do some skiing. But in all seriousness, we're human beings. We're all fallible. Shit happens in life, right? So what happens, like Web 3, there's a lot of anxiety, especially if you're building something like, a lot of the products we're building are financially related. So what happens when accidents do happen? How do you actually provide some layer of protection without centralizing the authority or taking over someone's account? So that's kind of really the central theme, how we started building 1Wallet. So that kind of lets some research, right? What do we care about when we try to build the best wallet out there? Well, these are some of the key vectors that how we think about it. And these are also some of the our peers, our contemporaries that we truly do admire, right? It's in the early days, so it's less about competition. Really learn from your peers, and what they have accomplished. The ones I truly admire, they're all non-custodial. I know Coinbase is out there. It's not Coinbase Exchange. It's Coinbase Wallet, which is non-custodial. Um, the second thing is I do admire the fact that there are more and more wallets are mobile centric. The reason why I care more about that is not because I spent 7 years building Android and I saw the mobile revolution, is that we can't pretend the desktop mobile is going to go away and everyone's going to start all of a sudden reverting back to desktop. Most of the wallets out there are laptop driven, and no fault, because most developers in the early days are, we're all sitting in front of our computer, so I just assume no one's using mobile. So mobile clients are actually critical, because if you're going to try to get the next billion users, it has to be mobile first. Not, well, we're going to think about mobile when we get the desktop right. The second thing is, well, NFT. Many of you guys are involved, right? NFT has to be baked in. Don't just adopt NFT. Make an NFT the first class citizen in your wallet. Make the user experience shine. Make the artist's work actually shine in your wallet. Well, custody, obviously, there's that famous phrase, not your private key, not your coins. So custody is critically important. Networks. All right, this is I love the Taylor guys and the Nomad guys, and also Harmony. You can't assume one chain rules them all. So you have to build a wallet that's not only cross-chain, not only multi-chain, but chain agnostic. And that means the wallet has to have the ability to handle multiple networks. So I don't have to switch across different networks manually. I mean, the analogy I give my product engineering team is always, imagine you're driving down Highway 101. We're all based in San Francisco, by the way. Imagine you're making a phone call and you're switching from AT&T to Verizon manually every single time you switch network. That would be a horrible user experience. So make it network agnostic, make it invisible. It's also critically important. Last but not least, some of these things are all related. Security, custody, chain agnostic. These are some of the kind of the core security primitives that we're looking into. And I'll get into a little bit details in the following presentation. But zooming out a little bit, let's go 30,000 feet. What are some of the key problems we're addressing? A problem well stated is a problem half solved, right? So I'm not going to go through it bullet by bullet, but we can all agree. The current wallet is serviceable. It gets the job done. But I don't get excited about when I open up my wallet. I don't get entertained when I open up my wallet. I don't feel a sense of calm when I open up my wallet. It's actually very anxiety driven, especially when we're trying to do large transactions. When we're last year, then we were participating in a community purchase of Bored Apes. We bought 8 of them. All 8 engineers. Lee was there. We're all shoulder surfing over, looking over his shoulder, making sure he doesn't make any mistake. Wallet transactions should not be this stress inducing. It needs to be easier. It should be calm, right? I don't get anxiety attack when I look at my bank account. Well, sometimes I do, but for the most part, it's a pretty calm experience. How we're gonna fix it? This is actually the starting point. First, we're gonna make sure security and safety is evergreen. It's kind of the core primitive how we're thinking about it. So what we're doing is a non-custodial wallet that does not require seed phrase and private key without taking away the private key. So how we're doing is we actually are using a research paper that was published 7 years ago by a bunch of security research scientists, and we validated for the past year and a half, which is abstracting away the private key into a smart OTP. And smart OTP, which is another way of saying Google Authenticator. So your private key actually changes locally on your own personal device every 30 seconds. It's not controlled on some central server, so it never leaves your device. You still have full custody, but you don't need to remember that. You don't need to write that down. By the way, I have 47 MetaMask addresses. So imagine writing that down on a piece of paper. It becomes non-manageable. So this is the only way we can actually enable multiple wallets across multiple networks without having the users dealing with the burden of memorizing the security key. And then there are things that also is kind of interesting by using this approach, which is you avoid some of the man-in-the-middle attack or people shoulder surfing, because all the security primitive is locally hosted on your own device, and you can back it up whichever way you want, but it never leaves your device. As long as you have custody of your own device, it's secure. And some of the things that is also really important. I think many of the interesting projects I've been hearing for the past 2 days is that you have to be open source. The code is actually out there. So unlike many of the popular wallets out there, 1Wallet will be fully open sourced, including the visual design. So if you so choose to, many of you guys are developers here, feel free to fork it, right? Make your own, make it better. let us know what are some of the security issues or features that we need to make improvements. All right. Now, all the mumbo jumbo for the past 5 minutes, we're finally at a starting point. This is not even like the most important thing for the users, right? Because all the stuff is not user facing. This is what's user facing. So there are 3 design principles, before a single line of code that were written that I talked to my engineers for about 4 or 5 months, which is number 1, we have to make the hard things easy. You have to make the easy things kind of delightful. And many of you, when you get a chance to download our wallet, we'll be in the backstage. You'll hopefully agree we have starting to realize some design principle. The second thing is self-expression for the user. The user interface, the user experience, is not dictated by our team. You can actually arrange some of the user interface based on your personal preference. In terms of look, also in just something as simple as like the look and feel, how the pixel should look on the device is completely customizable. So your wallet is yours. And using a simpler analogy, many of you have the analog wallets, right? I'm pretty sure none of our wallets, the physical wallet, looks identical, right? Some of them have leather, some of them are canvas, some of them are big, some of them are small. So your wallet in a digital sense should be also unique, individualized, and bespoke to how you want to use your wallet. Last but not least, we want to make this wallet not only easy to use or intuitive, it should sing to you. It should make you feel happy when you're using it. And hopefully we're going to get there by focusing on social. So if there's one thing to remember at 1Wallet, it is designed to be social because we're social beings. And we want to make this experience very much easy to talk to people and use the wallet as your daily driver. All right, so now let's get a little bit more concrete. How do we actually make this, realize all these marketing talk? Number 1, the rule of thumb, for every feature we built into 1Wallet, it has to pass a toothbrush test. So this is actually a test that's very famous within Google. For any feature that gets approval from Larry Page, you have to pass a toothbrush test. And it simply just means, if you think about a toothbrush, it's useful twice a day. Well, hopefully you guys brush your teeth twice a day. It doesn't matter age, gender, where you are, you use it twice a day. The second thing is the product itself, the technology layer should be invisible. And I use a metaphor called the glasses. If you think about a pair of glasses, many of you are wearing glasses in the background. You don't see the glasses. The glasses help you see the world better. But the product itself, the glasses, they're not visible to you, not in the obvious sense. So it needs to fade into the background. Last but not least, the visual graphic, the user interface, it should really make you feel something. It should make you feel the way that you want to feel. You could be sad, you could be happy, whichever emotion that you want to imbue onto your wallet, you need to have sense of that. So there's nothing a better analogy than a photo. A photo is very personal. It communicates certain stories. So 1Wallet is also trying to achieve that. So those are 3 things. Make it feel like a toothbrush, make it as useful as a pair of eyeglasses, and something that's emotionally connecting as a photo that's important to you. All right. I'm going to pause for 10 seconds so you guys can actually take out your phone. For those of you who are using iPhone, you can actually try to download our test flight. It's open to the public. And while it's downloading, because depending on the cellular connection, it may take 20, 30 seconds. But you guys can try it out. Scan the QR code. All right, while it's downloading on test flight, for those of you who are not familiar with it, it's in beta, so you have to download Apple's test flight, and then you can actually download the application itself. All right, so there is 7 key products that we think that we're very proud of. I'm not going to go through every one of them. The first one is basically the wallet creation. It's fast and easy because we abstract away private keys and seed phrase. The wallet creation is really fast. You don't have to take a screenshot or save it onto a piece of paper, write it down. The second thing is I think is also important is basically this idea. This is a smart contract wallet. So that means we'll support multi-sig, social recovery, the ability to create a DAO on the fly, and some of the features I'll explain a little bit more detail. And then the most important thing, which is the wallet is social. And let me kind of go a little bit deeper on this one. For the first time, we're building a chat directly inside a wallet. So what that problem solves is, if I want to send one of you, which I'll do after this presentation, I'll be on the backstage and I'll send out some 1 tokens. If I want to send it out to you, I don't have to go what's your address? And you don't have to open up your wallet, copy and paste. And say, oh, are you on Telegram? Connect with me. Copy and paste that address to the Telegram. I'll copy it back, copy it into my wallet. Then because we already went through 4 or 5 steps, I'm gonna send you a test transaction. And then, okay, did you get it? I'll ask you on Telegram, and you say yes, and then I'll send you the real transaction. That's 7 verbs for one single intent, which is I want to give you some free money. So we build a wallet-to-wallet communication. Your identity is your wallet address, and you can also name that wallet. So it's self-sovereign identity. And that really fundamentally addressed the original point of the 2008 Bitcoin white paper, which is a peer-to-peer payment system. So we're solving that with a wallet. And because it's a social wallet, you can also create a group. Let's say, all 100 of us decide to create a chat group here. And we're in love with Pizza DAO. So hey, let's create a burrito DAO. We can easily turn that group chat into a DAO because we have everyone's wallet address. We can all pitch in some money, donate into the DAO. With a single tap of a button, you can create a DAO on the fly. And because it is smart contract wallet, you can actually have multi-sig. So no one can run away with you, with our $5 million burrito DAO, right? And then because these are some of the people you trust on the chat group, you know who they are, or you trust their identity, you can actually assign them as your social recovery person in case you do something stupid like I do, lose your device. I lost 3 iPhones in the past 4 years, right? So you can actually have social recovery built into the social layer. So that's social at a super high level. But there's so many more interesting things. We can actually work with local musicians or artists. They can create a chat group, use that as their fan base, provide NFTs so that the fans can directly purchase the NFT within a chat group, or they can share the NFT across different chat communications, or asking their fans to donate tokens directly to their next art project. So the composable idea of having social built into the wallet is as far and as wide the users will take this. So social is the core primitive. It is the center of gravity for 1Wallet. And we're just getting started. I think I'm sure many of you will have more interesting and more wild imaginative ideas than what I can present on stage today. And then these are something that we're planning ahead for the second half this year. We're integrating with multiple protocols. So Wallet is not just a dumb iOS client anymore. We're already thinking about integrating with the Anchorage protocol. So you can actually do direct staking within your wallet. You get 20% yield. By the way, hopefully SEC is not here. We're not saying we're guaranteed 20%. We're saying there's a high yield potentially with 20% yield. Another thing that we're doing is we love proof of attendance. So imagine if you're here and you're sending messages back and forth. That is your proof of attendance. We have access to your lat long. So that's another great feature. And some of the other things, obviously we're starting with iOS. And by the way, the irony is not lost on me. I worked on Android for 7 years and we're starting with iOS. I still get a lot of crap from my ex-colleagues from Android, but Android is coming down the pipeline. We're looking at July at Paris to launch the Android version. So hopefully that's another path to get to the next billion Web3 users. And last but not least, this is a bit of an early announcement. At ETH Denver, Steven, the founder of Harmony, announced Harmony has a partnership with the 88 Rising. And for those of you who are not familiar with it, 88 Rising is one of the largest Gen Z focused music label. And for the first time, they will be at Coachella with their own dedicated stage, opposite of Harry Styles, Billie Eilish, and then Kanye West. So this is a big deal. And then we're going to be there activating the 150 million fans they have. So that's a big deal. So the numbers, the strategy, the execution plan for 1Wallet is perfectly aligned. We want to capture Gen Zs. We want to integrate culture into technology. So it's less about just technology for technology's sake, but more about culture. What can 1Wallet, what can Web3 enable for the fans? So that's kind of what we're focusing on. We've been taking this red pill since back in the days in 2018, but I'm excited because all the great works from all the layer 1 solution, all the oracles, the tailors, the nomad, the harmonies, we're finally able at a point in time to start thinking about user adoption. And hopefully next year when I'm back in Austin, I won't get a bunch FU from on 6th Street when trying to get users. But it's a good start. We already got 300 and we're gonna be out there activating more users today and tomorrow. So very excited to share this journey with many of you. And then last but not least, this is a bit of a kind of why are we doing this? And I'll end with this, right? If you think about one wallet, what is one wallet? I'm gonna borrow the famous answer from Howard Schultz from Starbucks. About 12 years ago, when Starbucks just came about into the popular culture, people ask him, "What is Starbucks?" And I think he gave one of the best answers. He didn't say it's a coffee shop with bakeries or it's a place for you to work. He said, "You know what? Starbucks is that third place between home and work." And that's kind of a direct reference why we're building one wallet because we do want to become the home in the metaverse in Web3. And the reason why I say that is because if you think about it, every one of us, including nomads, I know there's some nomads here, including our MC back there, they still have a home. Home is where you start your day. And it doesn't matter how far you venture out in the metaverse in a digital world, you always go back to it. Home is also where you keep some of your most valuable items. So one wallet that's kind of our non-technological reminiscing of why we're building this. We want to become the home in the metaverse. And it's also very different than how Facebook is approaching this. We don't want this to be the destiny of Web3. It's just a home, it's a starting point. You can go as far and as wide as you want in Web3. But trust that you always have a safe and secure place to go back to where you feel you belong, where you feel you can express who you are and what you are excited about. So that's one wallet. Really appreciate it. This is our Discord channel. Feel free to join us, and I'll be happy to take a couple quick questions from the audience. Yeah. So I'll answer it in three different ways, right? Number one, just assume the dark force theory, meaning there are malicious attackers that's out there to get you. That's our starting point. So what that means basically, you have to build security into multiple layers. There's not going to be a silver bullet solution. That's the kind of the abstract answer, right? We don't assume the world is all lovey-dovey. Just assume they're bad actors. They're out there to get you. So you have to have multiple layers of protection, whether it be using a secure enclave directly on your iPhone, or having the 30-second smart OTP, or having social recovery. But we also delineate the difference between security and safety, right? Some of the things, for example, safety could means like the fat finger, right? I mean, I've done this a couple of times. When I'm tired, when I'm bored, or whenever I'm distracted, I get the little notification on MetaMask. Sometimes I don't read. I just click on it. So that's safety because we're all human beings, right? We make those mistakes. So that also means we have to, for certain wallet size, in terms of the amount of value you hold in the wallet, we're going to enable multi-sig or social recovery. So that way we have multiple layers of protection for either just accidents or malicious attackers going against you, right? And then on top of that, we're working with different protocols out there. There are people working on decentralized FDIC, which is basically insuring your wallet again to up to a certain dollar amount. So it's not just a technology solution that we're building. There's also going to be a surface layer that we're working with other protocols to integrate directly into one wallet. So just in case some shit does happen, there are some form of insurance policy against whatever trouble that you may face with wallet. But that's a really good question. That's a really good question. So apps by means, for example, I delineate things like, for example, protocol. So right now we integrate with SushiSwap, right? We're talking to 1inch Paraswap, right? So that's at the protocol level, right? Anchorage protocols. But within the one wallet, there's a dedicated tab called Discovery. So for example, let's say many of you are building your own NFT marketplace. We'll have a curated ability to showcase that. So people can make direct purchase from one wallet, or you may have other capability. For example, DeFi Kingdom, which is also the number one GameFi on Harmony, they should be able to import their NFT directly into the wallet, so you can use that as your PFP within one wallet. So through the combination of these different integration partnership and also Wallet Connect, we think we want to be able to integrate multiple applications into this, right? And again, the key primitive here is it's not where we're going to help your attention captive for you to discover whatever interesting is out there and take you to whatever destination you want to go within this larger growing ecosystem of Web3 applications.
You mentioned having access to local information like location and wallet address, obviously. Is there going to be a setting where we can turn that off for privacy if we don't want that feature on, I assume?
That's a really good question. So that's kind of creepy, right? So many of us are very privacy focused and privacy centric. Um, it is opt-in. We by default we do not assume we have access to your GPS data, right? You have to specifically go into settings, toggle on the location. And it's not always on. It's only while the application is actually visible in the foreground. And also we showcase the weather at the top just to indicate that this is actually on. So there's actually a constant reminder. Your security is actually visible to you. For example, your location data. So that's a real question. It is opt-in, not opt-out. Yeah, right. All opt-in. The user custody means you have the full agency what the app is allowed to do or not allowed to do. So it's all opt-in by the user.
How do you deal with the spooling, like impersonating another person,
Mhm,
and also deleting metadata of
mhm.
the token or NFT on your wallet?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So again, similar to security, it's not going to be a silver bullet answer. But for example, a lot of our identity on, especially in Web3, is either anonymous or pseudonymous, right? So the best way to verify that, without going to a central authority is basically hopefully by the proof of your social peer. If you think about it, in terms of like spoofing someone's identity on LinkedIn, it's pretty easy, right? But if I say I am the president of, what's a hot company, right? SpaceX, right? And you only see I'm connected to one SpaceX employee, myself. You're kind of outing yourself. You may not be part of this network, and your identity is not validated by your peers, right? And in terms of all the metadata that is associated with, let's say a four apes, right? Again, that never actually enters the wallet. The wallet is just a condor for you to interact with whatever blockchain that you're interacting. So we don't store any of that metadata on our server nor on our device. Even if it is actually visible on the device itself, it's under the operating system protected memory. So there's actually the application, our company does not have access to that. So it is protected both by technology and also by design intent. Okay. Final question. Go ahead. Go for it. I mean, I fully embrace, both my professional career working on Android. There's so many forks of Android. Most noticeable, the Amazon Alexa that's built on top of Android. Even Meta's Oculus is built on top of Android. Fork it, mutate it, do whatever you want with it. The only caveat is basically let's make sure we actually build it for the community. Let the community decide which one's the right path, right? And we obviously, it's not I'm short of opinion. I certainly have a very opinionated take on what the wallet should be, but that's the beauty of Web3, right? Everyone has ownership of the code and should be part of the community. So if you're excited, if you're interested, we're going to be open sourcing in the next month or so. Basically, once we finish the development documentation. So it's an open invitation to fork it and build it, compose it whichever way you think is actually best for the community. Yep. All right. Thank you, guys.